Chapter 1533 Nameless Nya laid his arm around Yuanwan's shoulders. Old pal Shen, I'm telling you, this is my younger sister. Don't you think we share a resemblance? She's my parents' foster daughter. If it was anybody else who dared to pursue my sister, I would have slapped him to death. However, you, old pal Shen, aren't just anyone else, so I'll reluctantly agree to your marriage, but about the betrothal gift. You know how both my sister and I are people who need to look good, brother Shen, don't worry, the betrothal gift isn't a problem. I'm also someone who needs to look good. Eldest young Master Shen clapped his chest. Yuanwan, what's going on? Old pal Shen, this isn't a pressing matter. It's just the betrothal gift. It's the thought that counts. Come, let's discuss it, Nameless Nya said cheerfully. Wait. I still need to ask your sister whether she likes me. Even if it's a superfluous question since there isn't a woman in the independent state who would dislike me. Eldest young Master Shen smiled and looked at Yuanwan sincerely. Beautiful miss, do you like me? Yuanwan glanced at eldest young Master Shen. Where did his confidence come from? What's your name? Yuanwan asked. Grim Reaper, he answered. Real name, Yuanwan sighed. Shen Tianchen, eldest young Master Shen answered. Oh. Then I don't like you. Yuanwan shook her head. Don't like me? Eldest young Master Shen was surprised. That's not a problem. I can change my name. It doesn't have much to do with your name, Yuanwan replied after a moment of thought. Nice. Eldest young Master Shen looked incredibly excited. Do you know that you're the first girl to reject me? Ah, I know those girls who like me actually only fancy my money and not my talent. Nameless Nya looked at him. Old pal, what's your talent? Being rich. Eldest young Master Shen took a deep drag of his cigarette. Great. Nameless Nya gave eldest young Master Shen a thumbs up. If my sister can get with an honest and earnest person like you, old pal Shen, I would be utterly comforted. I agree to your marriage. Nameless Nya didn't allow eldest young Master Shen to speak and pulled Yuanwan to the side. He quietly said, Damn. Sister Famous, is your head okay? If you get with old pal Shen, you'll live in the lap of luxury from now on. If you manage to be married to old pal Shen, you'll be the madam of the Shen family and everything from the Shen family would belong to you. Every faction in the independent state, even the martial arts union, would act according to your wishes. And I can also mooch off of your greatness. How wonderful would this be? Yuanwan glanced at Nameless Nya. You mooching off is the main point, isn't it? Nameless Nya furrowed his brows. Sister, how could you say that? Am I that greedy for money in your eyes? Yes. Yuanwan nodded with conviction. Nameless Nya stared at Yuanwan. Sister Famous, really? I'm just doing this for you. Aren't you poisoned by the love goo? This can't be dragged out. You have to think of a way to cure it. I think that old pal Shen is quite nice, what do you think? Yuanwan was about to reply when eldest young Master Shen walked toward them and said, Brother Nya, don't be like this. A forcefully twisted melon isn't sweet. Chapter 1534 Nameless Nya, Great. A high-quality man that won't force people like old pal Shen is exactly the kind of man I admire. Yuanwan glanced at Nameless Nya. He simply wants me to be married to eldest young Master Shen. Beautiful miss, how about I call a servant to drive my car here, and I can take you on a ride around my bedroom or show you around the indoor playground that I built. Eldest young Master Shen smiled at Yuanwan. Yuanwan glanced at him, her lips twitching, but she couldn't utter a single word. Truly, wealthy people could do whatever they pleased. Ahem. Old pal Shen, today is your breakup banquet. We should head to the banquet venue first, Nameless Nya suggested. Yes, you're right, brother Nya. Eldest young Master Shen nodded and led them forward. A moment later, the trio arrived at the banquet venue. The venue was packed with people already. Aside from the powerful figures from different factions, worryless Nia and Nia Linglong were also standing amongst the crowd. Yi Wanwan surveyed the crowd from the corner of her eyes. Ji Shuran was wearing a faint smile as he quietly conversed with Lord Azura, and the duo would occasionally lean in and whisper to each other, akin to old friends who hadn't seen each other in many years. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but marvel at how these two clearly had a hostile relationship before, yet none of it could be seen in this setting, and they looked like very good friends instead. Normal people probably couldn't act so friendly with each other. Eat. Eat with all you've got. 7-star, the thing you're eating is too cheap. Eat this, it's expensive. You dummy. When Yi Wanwan was about to walk toward Lord Azura and Ji Shuran, a very familiar voice was heard from the crowd. She was startled, and her gaze automatically shot toward the origin of the sound. What entered her vision was Big Dipper wearing a suit and holding a plate covered in rare and precious food. 7-star was standing next to Big Dipper, and embarrassment flooded his face when he saw the strange glances from the people around them. Come, eat this. I'm telling you, this thing is extremely expensive, and you can't even eat it outside. Later, when we leave, we'll get a bag and take more back, Big Dipper said as he ate. How about you go over there to eat? I'll wait for you here, 7-star suggested after a moment of silence. What nonsense are you saying? You should eat too. After we finish eating here, we'll go to the other side to eat. I saw even better food over there, Big Dipper said. Yi Wanwan involuntarily face-bombed when she witnessed this scene. So disgraceful. He's even brought shame to his grandma's house. Doesn't the Fearless Alliance also feed him tasty food? Ah, old 7, say, is Sis Feng not coming? I can't reach her phone and still haven't seen her. What's going on? Big Dipper looked confused and started examining his surroundings. Yi Wanwan covered her face. Afraid that Big Dipper would approach and recognize her, she hastily turned around, wanting to leave the area. However, before Yi Wanwan could take more than a few steps, Big Dipper suddenly sprinted toward her. Damn! No way! Big Dipper stood next to Yi Wanwan and inspected her up and down, disbelief filling his face. You're Sis Feng. Why would Sis Feng dress so femininely? I'm not. You've got the wrong person, Yi Wanwan expressionlessly denied. What does he mean by dressing so femininely? Impossible. You're Sis Feng. Big Dipper was astonished. In his recollection, Yi Wanwan always dressed androgynously or wore pure Black Widow outfits. Chapter 1535. This girl who looked so sweet and adorable in front of them was actually their President Fearless? Sis Feng, 7-star soon walked up and greeted Yi Wanwan. Upon seeing no way to evade them, Yi Wanwan had no choice but to helplessly sigh and admit her identity. Freaking, can't they look more mature attending someone's banquet? He's absolutely disgracing me and the Fearless Alliance. Sis Feng, why did you only get here now? The food here at the Shin family is too delicious. Ah, you should have come earlier. It's probably all gone by now. Here, I saved you some. Eat it while it's hot, Big Dipper handed his plate to Yi Wanwan. Aren't you that? Eldest young Master Shin started when he saw Big Dipper. He felt like he saw this man before. If he recalled correctly, it was at the Fearless Alliance. Beautiful miss, you know people from the Fearless Alliance? Eldest young Master Shin looked at Yi Wanwan curiously. He had no idea that the woman before him was the president of the Fearless Alliance. Before Yi Wanwan could reply, Nameless Nia threw his arm around eldest young Master Shin's shoulders and said, Old pal Shen, let me accompany you to receive those honored guests first. You're the host today, so you mustn't neglect them. Then, Nameless Nia didn't give eldest young Master Shin a chance to respond and dragged him away. Sis Feng, are you gonna eat it? Big Dipper asked while lifting his plate. Didn't you eat? Yi Wanwan was full of exasperation. Of course I didn't. I knew the Shin family's banquet was today, so I didn't eat for 2 days just for this meal. Big Dipper grinned. Kill me, he's truly worthy of being my Fearless Alliance's elite. I've eaten. I'm not hungry. Yuan stared at Big Dipper. Big Dipper furrowed his brows. A pity. Sis Feng, since you aren't eating, 7-star and I will go to the front to eat, sure. Go on, Yuan's lips twitched. Old 7, let's go, Big Dipper said to 7-star. I won't go. How about you go and eat by yourself? 7-star suggested. No way. I can't finish it all by myself. Big Dipper didn't allow 7-star to respond and grabbed his arm, pulling him away. As Yuan stared at Big Dipper's figure, she silently prayed in her mind that this fool wouldn't say he was from the Fearless Alliance. Her Fearless Alliance truly couldn't stomach losing this amount of face. Soon, from the corner of her vision, Yuan caught sight of worryless Nya and Nya Linglong walking toward her. Ha, isn't this Miss Wan? Worryless Nya reached Yuan and snorted, disgust brimming from her eyes. Worryless, this is. Several socialites had curious expressions as they looked at Yuan. Allow me to introduce this miss to everyone. This miss looked after my son, Tang, for a while previously and used some sort of method that made my son acknowledge her as his mom. Now, she's come running to the Nya family and wants to be my mom's foster daughter, worryless Nya introduced coldly. Ah. This kind of person exists. The socialites examined Yuan with surprise. Sister Worryless, don't say that. Nya Linglong walked up and said, no matter what, she took care of Tang for a period of time. Younger sister Linglong, you're still young, but you mustn't be deceived by this kind of person. Who is Tang? She probably had ulterior motives for taking care of Tang, a socialite frostily commented with a glance at Yuan. Chapter 1536, alright, enough. Nya Linglong shook her head at the socialites. Ah. Linglong, you're simply too naive, a socialite said. Yuan glanced at them. She didn't want to cause trouble, but it didn't mean she was afraid of getting into trouble. If they wanted to play, she could stay to the end. How did this kind of person enter the Shin family's banquet? A socialite wearing a red gown frowned and asked, she couldn't have possibly sneaked in with the intention of seducing someone's man, right? Ha, since you mentioned it, this woman does have a nice face, another socialite said with a snort while looking at Yuan. Is that even a question? She must have snuck in. The socialite in a red gown instantly stopped a male server from the Shin family that passed in front of her. Honorable lady, is there something I can assist you with? The Shin server inquired with a light chuckle. Did this woman secretly sneak inside? The red-gowned woman pointed at Yuan. The Shin server turned to Yuan instantly. Honorable lady, apologies, but can you please show me your invitation? He asked her. Of course. Yuan took out a banquet invitation from her purse. The Shin server accepted the invitation and glanced at it before returning it to Yuan with great respect. Honorable lady, my sincere apologies, I've disturbed you. I've confirmed that you're an honorable guest personally invited by eldest young Master Shen. Nya Linglong glanced at the red-gowned woman with displeasure. What kind of place was the Shin residence? How could someone without an invitation sneak in there so easily? That day, Nya Linglong personally witnessed eldest young Master Shen hand an invitation to Yuan at the Nya residence. Yuan suddenly said to the Shin server, I suspect these people don't have an invitation. You should review them. The Shin server nodded lightly and turned to the red-gowned woman. Honorable lady, please show me your invitation. What did you say? The red-gowned woman raised her eyebrows. Don't you recognize me? Apologies, this is my duty. Please show me your invitation, the Shin server repeated with a cordial smile. The red-gowned woman immediately took out an invitation from her purse and harshly threw it at the man. Look at it carefully. After the Shin server validated the invitation, he returned the invitation to her. Ha! The red-gowned woman released a bone-chilling chuckle while staring at Yuan. Nearby, Ji Xiuran had a faint smile on his face as he occasionally glanced in Yi Wanwan's direction. Across from him, a terrifyingly icy glint surfaced in Lord Azura's eyes when he saw how Ji Xiuran kept glancing at her. Enough, Wanwan, this is all a misunderstanding. Don't worry about it, Nia Linglong said to Yi Wanwan with a smile. I forgive them, Yi Wanwan replied. Then Nia Linglong and, worryless Nia, quickly led the socialites away from her. After they reached a corner, the red-gowned woman was furiously gnashing her teeth. Who does that damn bitch think she is? I'll absolutely make her die miserably. A socialite turned to Nia Linglong and began, Third miss, how about? Nia Linglong's face shifted and before the socialite could react, a crisp slap rang. Nia Linglong had backhanded the socialite's face without any mercy. Chapter 1537 Third miss, the socialite was taken by surprise when she was slapped for no reason. She didn't know what she said that elicited such displeasure from Nia Linglong. Slap. When Nia Linglong heard the words, third miss, she ruthlessly slapped the socialite again with an extremely dark expression, all of her previous sweetness and docility erased from her face. What did you call me? Nia Linglong's voice sounded ominous. The socialite stared at Nia Linglong while clutching her face but didn't dare to respond. Remember, the Nia family only has one daughter, and that's me. Got it? Nia Linglong coldly pressed. The socialite turned to the smiling, worryless Nia. Why are you looking at me? She's asking whether you understood, worryless Nia said with a cold smile, warning the socialite instead of concerning herself over Nia Linglong's words. Yes. I understand, the socialite nodded vehemently and looked at Nia Linglong. She changed her salutation and repeated, second miss, I understand. Nia Linglong's expression eased a little upon hearing that. Younger sister Linglong, overlook her mistake. She's still young, the red-gowned socialite said to Nia Linglong with a smile. In the red-gowned socialite's eyes, worryless Nia's every ability was inferior to Nia Linglong, and she was even bowing before Nia Linglong now and didn't have any aura or bearing that belonged to a daughter of the Nia family. Instead, it was Nia Linglong who acted more like an honorable daughter of the Nia family, truly deserving of the title, second miss, of the Nia family. Right, sister worryless. I have a way to destroy that damn bitch. The red-gowned woman sneered. Worryless Nia turned to the red-gowned socialite. After listening to the red-gowned socialite's plan, her eyes sparkled and her lips turned up. Yi Wanwan was a bit bored and wandered around the venue for a little before stopping in front of a liquor table. Honorable lady, what would you like to drink? A waiter from the Shin family asked with a polite smile while looking at Yi Wanwan. In the distance, Lord Azura's brows furrowed when he saw Yi Wanwan stopping in front of the liquor table. A beverage, Yi Wanwan replied as she looked at the fair-looking Shin waiter. Honorable lady, we didn't prepare any beverages. The waiter looked a bit troubled. If you can't hold your liquor, honorable lady, you can try the champagne that the Shin family specifically prepared for receiving honored guests. The alcohol content is very low, and it isn't any different from a beverage. Will I get drunk from drinking champagne? Yi Wanwan asked. If she got drunk in this kind of setting, it would be a serious matter. I haven't heard of that happening. The Shin waiter handed a glass of champagne to Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan carefully took a sip and relaxed after tasting it. How could she get drunk from this thing? It was just a beverage. Before Yi Wanwan could thank the waiter, a woman darted out of the crowd. There an anxious-looking man chasing after the woman who kept sending her looks. Yi Wanwan was startled. What's going on? Do I know this man? Heh. So it's like that, huh? The woman sneered when she stopped in front of Yi Wanwan. The woman instantly picked up a glass from the table and splashed the contents onto Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1538 Yi Wanwan's reaction was also lightning fast. With a flutter of her dress and a slight tilt of her body, she instinctively dodged it. How dare you dodge it? The woman pointed at Yi Wanwan, fuming with rage. Ji Xiuran and Si Yihan's gazes turned to them simultaneously. What do you mean? Yi Wanwan coldly asked while frigidly looking at the woman. Ah, Xiao Wei, forget it. I was wrong, okay. Let's forget about this matter, and we won't ever mention it again. The man grasped the woman's shoulders, looking like he wanted to keep the peace. Everyone's eyes turned to Yi Wanwan and the newcomers immediately. Yi Wanwan was baffled. There was something wrong with this couple, right? Or did they escape from the insane asylum? What happened? I don't know. Everyone looked curious as they quietly discussed this scene. Forget it. The woman snorted while glowering at the man. What? You want to protect this slutty bitch after cheating on me on the outside? Don't. We're in public. Let's talk about it after we get home. I'll apologize to you, the man said. Sure. Then let's break up. The woman glanced at the man. The man frantically shook his head. Xiao Wei, I was wrong. But it's really not my fault, he pointed at Yi Wanwan, it was all her. She's the one who seduced me. I'm telling you. This woman took a fancy to my money. I was just playing with her and definitely don't feel anything for her. Xiao Wei, how could she compare to you? Play. The woman snorted. You spent quite a lot of money with your playing, not much. I gave her a sum of money, and broke all relations with her, the man hastily replied. An uproar reverberated through the crowd. So the fiancé was catching the mistress. Isn't this man the eldest young master of the Hang family? That girl is the eldest miss of the Sun family. They just got engaged, so eldest young master Hang kept a mistress on the outside but was discovered by eldest Miss Sun. So that woman is the mistress who seduced eldest young master Hang. Discussion flew everywhere as everyone talked all at once. Yi Wanwan glanced at the couple. She was somewhat bewildered earlier but now understood what they were saying. Were these two people serious? Did they have some misunderstanding, or were they, under someone's direction? Damn bitch, who do you think you are? How dare you seduce my man? I'm definitely gonna destroy your face beyond repair today. Eldest Miss Sun harshly shouted while glaring at Yi Wanwan. Amongst the guests, Lord Azura glanced at eldest young Master Sun then looked away without any abnormalities. Xiao Wei. I'll support whatever you do. I was wrong. I was just bewitched by this woman. She's an expert. Seducing me like that. So I accidentally turned impulsive and lost my rationality, and committed a wrong, eldest young Master Hang kept sighing. Bitch, kneel down. Eldest Miss Sun shouted furiously. Yi Wanwan's lips turned up, and she snorted. PFT. Say, you can't even manage your man, but you want to come here and blame other people for seducing your man, what did you say? Eldest Miss Sun questioned frostily. Unfortunately. I'm seriously uninterested in this man. Do you have the wrong person? Yi Wanwan asked with raised brows. Chapter 1539 Wrong Person. Eldest young Master Hang walked forward and pointed at Yi Wanwan. Woman, you intentionally seduced me, and extorted a large sum of money from me and now you're saying we have the wrong person? Surprise filled everyone's eyes. How did a woman like this enter the Shin family's banquet? Eldest Miss Sun looked like she wanted nothing more than to devour Yi Wanwan live. What's going on? Nameless Nya suddenly walked up with a bewildered expression. Brother, Worryless Nya, walked up too and said with a frown, this Miss seduced eldest Miss Sun's fiancé, Sister Worryless, don't say things carelessly. The matter hasn't been cleared up yet. Perhaps it's a misunderstanding, Nya Linglong butted in. Misunderstanding? Worryless Nya snorted. It'd be best if it was a misunderstanding. But eldest young Master Hang is speaking confidently and vowing that she extorted a sum of money from him. It can't be as simple as a misunderstanding, right? Damn, I thought it was something serious, but that's it. Nameless Nya glanced at them. He pointed at eldest young Master Hang. You're the one who profited ridiculously, so why are you making a commotion instead of rejoicing secretly? Yi Wanwan, is nameless Nya, a fool. If he's dim-witted, can't he freaking stay silent? Eldest brother, you shouldn't interfere in this kind of matter. Worryless Nya, pulled nameless Nya a few steps back. Damn bitch, how dare you seduce my man? I'm gonna end you here today. Eldest Miss Sun declared while staring at Yi Wanwan. An indescribable smile spread across Yi Wanwan's lips. Who gave you the confidence to think all women would like your man? What did you say? You have the guts to seduce me but not to admit it. Don't you recall what you said when you seduced me? You said you fell in love with me at first sight, and wouldn't marry anyone but me. As eldest young Master Hang said this, Yi Wanwan couldn't help chuckling out loud. This man was a galaxy short of Big Dipper even. As for his looks, how can this woman be so shameless? Seducing eldest young Master Hang and extorting money from him, but now she won't admit it. Ha, that's nothing. I've seen plenty of women like her. Look at her face, she does have the capital to do that. One of them is willing to do the beating and the other is willing to be beaten, so what's there to it? TSK, eldest Miss Sun is rather pitiful. How strange that a woman like her could also attend eldest young Master Shin's banquet. Did she secretly sneak in here? Logically speaking, it's not possible for anyone to get a chance to sneak inside considering the Shin family's security, but it's even more impossible for the Shin family to invite this kind of women. Many socialites' expressions were brimming with disgust and disdain when they looked at Yi Wanwan. Whereas some of the men looked at her a bit lecherously. What are you all fucking shouting about here? Eldest young Master Shin walked over suddenly and stared down eldest young Master Sun and eldest Miss Sunday. Are you two stirring up trouble at my banquet? Eldest young Master Hang hastily replied, No. Brother Shin, you don't know but this woman seduced me and extorted money from me, what? Eldest young Master Shin was startled. He looked at Yi Wanwan then turned to eldest young Master Hang. Seduce him? My goddess, would rather seduce this kind of person instead of me. Why did you seduce him? You should seduce me. I don't have a girlfriend. I would be seduced with a single hook of your finger. Eldest young Master Shin hastily interjected while looking at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan, after eldest young Master Shin spoke, everyone understood how this kind of woman managed to get into the Shin family's banquet. Eldest young Master Shin took a fancy to her. Chapter 1540. 1540 The eldest young master of the Shin family had changed girlfriends countless times, and many socialites outside the Shin residence came here for eldest young Master Shin. If they could latch onto him, they would be able to soar to success. Many socialites and upper-class women sneered and shook their heads. No wonder this kind of woman could attend the Shin family's banquet. Eldest young Master Shin took a fancy to her. I was wondering why this woman would kick young Master Hang away. It turns out she has a new target. It can't be helped though since eldest young Master Hang is no match for eldest young Master Shen, a middle-aged upper-class woman dressed in traditional noble clothing said with a snort. Ha, isn't it simple for eldest young Master Shin to bring a woman to the banquet? We have to praise this woman for being capable of latching on to eldest young Master Shin though. Following the erupting discussion from the socialites and upper-class women, eldest Miss Sun raised her hand and wanted to slap Yi Wanwan. A crisp slap rang out, but it was because Yi Wanwan lifted her right arm to catch eldest Miss Sun's wrist. How dare you retaliate? Eldest Miss Sun questioned viciously. Scram! Yi Wanwan was expressionless as she directed force to her arm and pushed forward slightly. Eldest Miss Sun staggered back and became unbalanced, falling to the ground. Eldest young Master Hang was quick though and caught eldest Miss Sun lively. You vicious woman! You used those despicable methods to seduce me, and won't admit to extorting my money. Now, you even have the guts to hit people. Eldest young Master Hang said to Yi Wanwan coldly. Although there were many upper-class ladies who were extremely disgusted with Yi Wanwan, she was personally invited by eldest young Master Shen, so it wasn't proper for other people to comment on it. Xiao Feng, did something happen? At that moment, Ji Xiuran slowly walked toward them with an indescribable smile on his lips. Surprise enveloped people when they saw Ji Xiuran showing up. This woman actually knew Ji Xiuran. Could it be she also had a thing with Ji Xiuran? But Ji Xiuran was famous for being distant from women, so what was going on? A chilly glint surfaced in Nie Linglong's eyes when Ji Xiuran intervened in the matter. At the same time, a middle-aged man in the crowd saw Yi Wanwan, and his eyes widened. That woman. If he saw correctly, she was, probably, the president of the Fearless Alliance. The middle-aged man once saw President Fearless near the Fearless Alliance's headquarters, so he had a deep impression of her. Although the president of the Fearless Alliance dressed in a drastically different style than what he saw before, he absolutely wouldn't mistake President Bai for anybody else. So in other words, a bunch of people were claiming President Bai seduced the eldest young master of the Sun family? Wasn't this an astronomical joke? If Bro Flattop, the president of the Fearless Alliance, wanted a man, why would she need to seduce him? She could just directly abduct that man. That was the Fearless Alliance's style, no? President Bai is in rather high spirits. It appears you like to argue with people now, but you're usually a lot more gentlemanly. While everyone was surprised by Ji Xiuran's appearance, an aloof man with frosty eyes walked to Yi Wanwan's side. Who is that man? I don't know. I previously saw Patriarch Shen talking amicably with him and called him Lord Azura, Lord Azura. The socialites and upper-class women were immensely astonished. Azura was one of the 3 core factions of prison, and Lord Azura was the leader of Azura. Chapter 1541, Wait, what, did Lord Azura call that woman? A socialite looked surprised when she seemingly heard Bai Feng's form of address from Lord Azura. Although she temporarily couldn't recall Bai Feng's name, it was very familiar as though she'd heard it before. Sis Feng, who are you fighting with? Big Dipper suddenly joined the gathering with 7 Star while holding a small roasted pig. He's saying I seduced him, and his fiancée wants me to die here, Yi Wanwan replied with a light chuckle. Seduce him? Who? Big Dipper examined the surroundings before his gaze finally landed on eldest young Master Hang. Damn, seduce him. Blah. Look at your freaking pork chop face. You're saying Sis Feng is seducing you? Go fuck yourself. Big Dipper flung the roast pig onto eldest young Master Hang's face. You. It's her who seduced my fiancé and extorted money from my fiancé. Eldest Miss Sun yelled angrily at Big Dipper. Fucking dog shit. Big Dipper turned to eldest Miss Sunday, the president of the Fearless Alliance needs to seduce your fiancé. And extort money from your fiancé. The Fearless Alliance can just rob whatever it wants, 7 Star continued. Disbelief filled eldest young Master Hang and his fiancé's eyes when they heard the words, Fearless Alliance. What did they say? The woman in front of them was from the Fearless Alliance. And she was the president of the Fearless Alliance? Bro Flattop, Bai Feng. She's President Fearless? Eldest Miss Sun exclaimed incredulously. Nonsense. Big Dipper glanced at eldest Miss Sunday, are you freaking blind? You can't even recognize President Fearless? Aren't you from the Sun family? If I recall correctly, the Sun family is located near our Fearless Alliance and is a subordinate faction that belongs to our Fearless Alliance, right? Is Sun Long your father? 7 Star asked eldest Miss Sunday. Eldest Miss Sun nodded reflexively. Then that means the Sun family is getting gutsy and even dares to slander the president of the Fearless Alliance, 7 Star said indifferently without any expression. Eldest Miss Sun was utterly disconcerted by 7 Star's words. She couldn't believe that this young and sweet-looking girl was actually the president of the Fearless Alliance. That leader of the Fearless Alliance who killed people without blinking and would commit any imaginable misdeed. The Fearless Alliance. What's going on? Nearby, worryless Nya furrowed her brows. Wasn't this woman's name Yuan Wan, and didn't she come from China? So how did she become the president of the Fearless Alliance in the Shin family's banquet? Nya Linglong also had a strange expression on her face. Although Nya Linglong knew Yuan Wan was the genuine worryless Nya, she never heard of any connection between worryless Nya and the Fearless Alliance. Could it be that worryless Nya created the Fearless Alliance while she was on the outside back then? However, after thinking carefully about it, Nya Linglong discovered many illogical details about it. Even if worryless Nya really developed the Fearless Alliance, she had amnesia right now and hadn't recovered her memories yet, so how could she regain her seat on the throne as President Fearless? If worryless Nya recovered her memories, there was no way she wouldn't reunite with Tang Tang and Madame Nya. It didn't make any sense. Could it be that she randomly stumbled into the position of being mistaken as Bai Feng by the Fearless Alliance despite being an amnesiac? Nya Linglong secretly wondered to herself, but it still didn't sound right to her. Chapter 1542. Soon, calmness returned to Nya Linglong's eyes. If worryless Nya really was pretending to be the president of the Fearless Alliance, then that'd make things simpler. She just needed to inform the Fearless Alliance that Yuan Wan was Chinese, and everything would be resolved easily. What she was afraid of was Ji Shuran using his own power to help worryless Nya ascend to the Fearless Alliance's throne. After some careful thought, this kind of situation wouldn't happen. With the Fearless Alliance's style, they wouldn't compromise and acknowledge a stranger to be the president of the Fearless Alliance even if it was Ji Shuran, one of the bosses from prison, or the president of the Martial Arts Union who requested it. After careful consideration, Nya Linglong determined that worryless Nya had to have pretended to be President Fearless, Bai Feng, for some reason after coming to the independent state. Nya Linglong wasn't interested in knowing the reason, nor did it have anything to do with her. At this moment, the audience was in an uproar. The socialites and upper-class women who looked at Yuan Wan in disgust and suspicion froze in their spots, incredulous. No matter how you looked at it, that woman didn't look like the vicious and evil bro flat top, Bai Feng, from the rumors. Who was the Fearless Alliance? They weren't afraid of the heavens or hell, they insulted Azura, they stole gold and gems and treasure from the Shin family, they fought mercenaries from the Nya family, they destroyed subordinate factions of the Ji family. As if that wasn't enough, rumors claimed they even provoked the man whose alias was Invincible. A vicious person like that would seduce the eldest young master of the Hang family? There would be a tinge of plausibility if they said she seduced Lord Azura or Emperor Ji, but the eldest young master of the Hang family. Didn't eldest young master Hang claim that President Fearless extorted money from him? A young man suddenly said from the crowd. Even the drop of a needle could be heard at the venue. No one with a brain cell would believe it. Although the Hang family was a respectable family in the independent state, the Fearless Alliance had at least 10 times the wealth of the Hang family, yet he claimed the president of the Fearless Alliance would sacrifice her body to con a little money from eldest young Master Hang? That was more absurd than a joke. Fearless Alliance, eldest Miss Sun's teeth were chattering and her face was ghastly pale. She collapsed to the ground like a pile of mud and fearfully stared at Yuan Wan. Bro flat, no. It's President Bai. Yuan Wan coldly surveyed eldest Miss Sun and eldest young Master Hang. She didn't know these two people at all, so why would they come running to her and claim she seduced eldest young Master Hang and extorted money from him for no reason? It would be explainable, and she could understand it if it was just a misunderstanding, but this was evidently not a misunderstanding. If it wasn't a misunderstanding, then a better explanation would be that someone was directing them. At the same time, sweat seeped on the forehead of the red-gowned socialite standing next to worryless Nya. She was the one who involved eldest young Master Hang and eldest Miss Sunday. But, how could she have known that this woman was the president of the Fearless Alliance? If she knew, there was no way she would have dared to do this. President of the Fearless Alliance? Eldest young Master Shen was dumbfounded. First, he glanced at nameless Nya next to him before running his eyes over Yuan Wan. When he visited the Fearless Alliance, President Fearless was dressed like a widow and used a black veil to cover her face, so how could he have recognized the little sweetie who made his heart pound as President Fearless? No wonder. When I saw her at the Fearless Alliance, I didn't see her face clearly, but I found her voice familiar. It turns out I met her already at the Nia residence, eldest young Master Shin murmured. Chapter 1543. Ah, nameless Nia looked sorrowful and sighed helplessly. It was over. After learning that Yuanwan was currently President Fearless, eldest young Master Shin wouldn't have any feelings for her anymore. Old pal Shin. In truth, I didn't intentionally deceive you. You know how something like love is unrelated to status, gender, or race. Love is love. If you've fallen in love, you can pursue her whether she's a human, ghost or poltergeist. Even humans and dogs can get married. Of course, dogs don't need betrothal gifts, but humans, nameless Nya quietly said with a smile. Yes. Eldest young Master Shin gave nameless Nya a thumbs up. I like women like little sweetheart who have both beauty and intelligence, both intelligence and martial skills, both martial skills and viciousness. She's the little sweetheart who the heavens sent to me to spend the rest of my life with. She's my little angel, my goddess, my most beloved. Nameless Nya was baffled. Was eldest young master serious? Was masochism considered an illness? Right. Nameless Nya nodded vehemently. Old pal Shen, look at me, I've experienced this before. Love is like this, brother Nya, have you had a girlfriend before? Eldest young Master Shin curiously asked Nameless Nya all of a sudden. Nameless Nya, Old pal Shin, I'm telling you. Love has absolutely nothing to do with whether someone's had a girlfriend before. Nameless Nya said. Before eldest young Master Shin could respond, he felt a bone-chilling gaze landing on him. It was akin to an icily glinting dagger, causing discomfort to envelop his body. Eldest young Master Shin turned around and discovered both Lord Azura and Ji Shuran staring at him. One had an inexplicable smile in his eyes while the other had a cold glint in his eyes. Brother Nya. Why are Lord Azura and Emperor Ji looking at me? I feel like their gazes pose an indescribable threat to me, eldest young Master Shin asked Nameless Nya. Oh. Nameless Nya looked forward and was startled when he saw Lord Azura. This man looked somewhat familiar, very familiar. Did he see this man somewhere before? But he couldn't recall it now. Eldest Miss Sun suddenly knelt in front of Yuanwan. President Bai. It's a misunderstanding. We mistook you. President Bai, believe me. President Bai, it's really a misunderstanding. A woman once seduced me and extorted money from me, and President Bai is wearing similar clothes to that woman today, so it caused us to mistake the wrong person. President Bai mustn't take it to heart. Eldest young Master Hang wore a saccharine smile as he looked at Yuanwan. Oh. You mistook me? Yuanwan stared at the couple and chuckled lightly. Yes. I mistook you. I definitely mistook you. Eldest young Master Hang chuckled abashedly. Slap. A crisp sound rang out at the venue. In front of everyone, 7 Stars slowly walked up and ruthlessly backhanded eldest young Master Hang's face. Blood immediately dribbled from the corner of eldest young Master Hang's lips. Apologies, I mistook you. I thought you were my enemy. 7 Star expressionlessly stared at him. Big Dipper's eyes brightened, and he instantly sent his leg flying, kicking eldest young Master Hang several meters back. Oh. Big Dipper looked surprised. Sorry, I mistook you. Chapter 1544. After eldest young Master Hang stood up, his eyes glinted coldly and veins popped on his forehead. Eldest young Master Hang was martially inclined, but he didn't dare to retaliate when confronted with members of the Fearless Alliance, especially when their president was also there. Eldest young Master Hang, are you alright? Big Dipper sprinted to eldest young Master Hang's side and asked with a grin. Eldest young Master Hang hastily replied, I'm fine, I'm fine. Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. Right, right, right. Misunderstanding, a misunderstanding indeed. Big Dipper nodded vehemently and didn't give eldest young Master Hang a chance to react before ruthlessly smacking the back of the man's head. You, eldest young Master Hang fumed inwardly. Ah, a misunderstanding. I mistook you again. Big Dipper giggled mischievously. Eldest young Master Hang was about to respond when the landlord's foolish son walked over and kicked his ass, sending him several meters back. My bad, I mistook you, eldest young Master Shen said. Brother Shen, I'm not criticizing you, but you aren't acting realistically. Big Dipper urgently said to him. Eldest young Master Shen was startled. How so? Brother Shen, look, your motions and demeanor have to be the same. Let me show you, Big Dipper said and strode to eldest young Master Hang, smacking the guy's face with his fist in the blink of an eye. Ah. Are you alright? It's a misunderstanding. Look at your porkchop face. You look too similar to my enemy. Sorry, my bad. After Big Dipper made eldest young Master Hang stagger back, he hastily supported eldest young Master Hang with worry brimming from his face. Yi Wan, are there two dimwits here? Enough. Patriarch Shen expressionlessly walked forward at this time. When eldest young Master Shen saw Patriarch Shen, he resembled a mouse who saw a cat and lost all his previous arrogance and smugness. Isn't it inappropriate for you two to cause a commotion in my Shen residence? Patriarch Shen said to eldest young Master Hang and eldest Miss Sun sternly. The duo was as quiet as a cicada in winter and didn't dare to utter a word. President Bai, you won't take offense to the fact that I didn't recognize you earlier, right? Patriarch Shen asked with a light chuckle, turning to Yi Wan. Yi Wan smiled faintly. What are you saying, Uncle Shen? Of course I don't mind. Patriarch Shen might look honest and naive but was actually so shrewd that no one in the independent state could compare to him. Otherwise, a clan that didn't have any accomplishments in martial arts absolutely couldn't become the wealthiest faction in the independent state or one of its 4 great clans. President Bai, this is a banquet hosted by my Shen family today, so can you please give a little face to me and settle this matter by throwing these two out? Patriarch Shen inquired with a smile. Of course I have to give face to Uncle Shen. Since Uncle Shen has spoken, I'll leave their punishment to Uncle Shen, Yi Wan replied. Patriarch Shen's words were flawless, and his tone was also very appropriate. If Yi Wan didn't agree, she'd look unappreciative. Ha, great. Thank you so much for giving face to a pitiful old man like me. I'm very grateful. Patriarch Shen nodded to Yi Wan and waved his hand at the Shen guards nearby. Take these two people outside. Chapter 1545, yes, one of the guards replied and apprehended eldest young Master Hang and eldest Miss Sunday. Yi Wan couldn't help but marvel at Patriarch Shen's modus operandi. The Shen family's current status absolutely didn't depend on chance and luck. A person could see Patriarch Shen's abilities from this matter alone. He didn't allow the attendees of the Shen banquet, Miss Sun and Mr. Hang, to become injured or die, nor did he disrespect the president of the Fearless Alliance. He resolved the awkward position the Shen family was in as the host with a few words. Come, President Bai. I didn't recognize you earlier, but let's have a good talk. Patriarch Shen beamed at Yi Wan and clapped her shoulders before leading her toward the VIP seats. Patriarch Shen personally poured a cup of tea for Yi Wan and handed it to her. President Bai, have some tea. Thank you, Uncle Shen. Yi Wan smiled and accepted the tea. Dad, I also want a cup. Eldest young Master Shen sprinted toward them. Patriarch Shen glanced at his foolish son. Get lost. I won't. I want to drink tea. Eldest young Master Shen plopped himself down next to Yi Wan. Yi Wan, Patriarch Shen looked at Yi Wanwan with an embarrassed expression. President Bai, please excuse my son. He was pampered and spoiled since childhood, Patriarch Shen said. Yi Wanwan shook her head. Tianchen is fine. Underneath the VIP seats, Nia Linglong's eyes kept darting over to Yi Wanwan, a cold glint sparkling in her eyes. This woman who shouldn't have appeared, must disappear. Nearby, nameless Nia sent a look to Ji Xiuran, who was conversing with a few leaders from other factions. Excuse me, everyone. I'll have to leave momentarily, Ji Xiuran quietly said with a smile. Emperor Ji is being too courteous. Do what you need to do, an elderly man said. After Ji Xiuran left, the leaders all couldn't help but marvel at how accomplished Ji Xiuran was despite his young age. Moreover, he didn't put on any airs and made people feel like a spring breeze was washing over them. Brother Nia, what is it? Ji Xiuran asked in confusion when he reached nameless Nia's side. Are you very familiar with Lord Azura? Nameless Nia looked very inquisitive. Ji Xiuran quietly said, there's no harm in speaking frankly, Brother Nia. Take me over there. I have something to ask Lord Azura, nameless Nia replied. Sure. Ji Xiuran didn't say anything more and led nameless Nia to Lord Azura, who was drinking tea on the side. Hey! Nameless Nia approached Lord Azura. Before he could take more than a few steps, he was blocked by Jiang Yan. Who are you? Jiang Yan coldly looked at him. You're blocking me. Nameless Nia stared at Jiang Yan. If I allowed myself to be blocked by you just like that, I would be shaming myself. Nameless Nia lifted his right arm and instantly sent Jiang Yan dozens of steps back. After Jiang Yan steadied himself, disbelief and surprise surfaced in his eyes. Who's this man in front of me? How could he be so strong that I can't see through him anymore? Could he be the rumored strongest person in the independent state, piece of shit? At this time, Lord Azura's icy gaze landed on nameless Nia, surprise entering his eyes when he saw nameless Nia's face clearly. He imperceptibly turned his head. Chapter 1546, 1546, You, nameless Nia walked to Lord Azura's side and asked, have we met before? Lord Azura was forced to face nameless Nia directly and aloofly said, you have the wrong person, sir. Your words are a little strange. I haven't even named who you are yet, but you're saying I have the wrong person. Nameless Nia stared at Lord Azura with a furrow of his brows. He rubbed his chin as he pondered over it. This man is seriously too familiar looking. Where in the world have I seen him before? When I went out on missions. No. I don't think I've ever seen him in the independent state either. Then, what about China? Ah! I remember. Nameless Nia slapped his thigh. You're the owner of that food stall in China. Si Yihan, Jiang Yan was baffled. Owner of a food stall? What? When did my master open a food stall and become its owner? You do have the wrong person, sir, Si Yihan said. Right. I got it wrong, you aren't the owner of that food stall in China. I remember that owner as round and fat and he wasn't as handsome as you. As nameless Nia said this, he kept examining Si Yihan. After examining Si Yihan for almost 10 minutes, nameless Nia's eyes flashed. Damn! I remember now. You're Yi Wanwan's boyfriend. Back then, you even pretended to be Tang Tang's father. You're the patriarch of the Si family, Si Yihan. Am I right? Nearby, Ji Xiuran's signature smile instantly disappeared without a trace. There was thunder and lightning and a raging storm in his eyes as he slowly looked at Si Yihan. The patriarch of the Si family in China. The man who erased all of worryless Nia's memories and completely turned worryless Nia into Yi Wanwan. Damn! What the hell are you doing? How could you just abandon your girlfriend in China? Yi Wanwan was so anxious that she came running to the independent state by herself to find you. I also heard she swam here, nameless Nya urgently questioned while staring at Si Yihan. Yi Wanwan. Si Yihan. You must have the wrong person, sir. I don't know these people you speak of, Si Yihan said aloofly. Wrong person. Nameless Nya looked uncertain. That also made sense. This man was Lord Azura in the independent state, and the Si family of China probably wasn't a match for even a toe of Lord Azura. So why would he run to China to be some patriarch? Alright, perhaps I do have the wrong person. But your face is seriously similar. Nameless Nya shook his head and walked to Jiang Yan. Bro, sorry, I recognized the wrong person. Here's some money to nurture your health. It's also my apology to you. Then he forcefully stuffed $100 into Jiang Yan's hand. You freaking. Where did this madman come from? As Ji Shuran watched nameless Nya leave abandonedly, his signature smile returned to his face. When a silver-haired elderly man saw that smile appearing on Ji Shuran's face, which was as exquisite as a carved statue, shock entered his eyes. Was Emperor Ji about to get serious with someone? Other people might not know the meaning behind Emperor Ji's smile every time he smiled like that, but people like them who followed Emperor Ji knew it better than anyone. This was a warning for extreme danger. The final calm before the storm. Chapter 1547. Ji Shuran sat face to face with Si Yihan with a chessboard in between them. How's the tea, Lord Azura? Ji Shuran asked him with a light chuckle. It's good, Si Yihan replied aloofly. Ji Shuran pushed the tea aside and used his right hand to pick up a chess piece from the chessboard in front of him. Lord Azura, our game hasn't finished yet. Ji Shuran's right hand gently placed the chess piece down. Si Yihan didn't say anything and started playing with Ji Shuran. Other people have mentioned that Lord Azura is extremely learned, so I have a matter to ask Lord Azura, Ji Shuran said. Si Yihan glanced at him. With your knowledge, you shouldn't need to ask other people anything, Emperor Ji. Ji Shuran didn't respond outright and started saying, if a person's memories are completely erased and replaced by someone else's memories, then is that person considered to have died since she's living with another person's memories and living for other people? Si Yihan's expressionless gaze landed on Ji Shuran. This type of living, where you linger in this world without your dignity, dead but not truly dead. You don't know your name and everything that originally belonged to you has turned into smoke and mirrors. You have no choice but to accept everything that belongs to someone else. It sounds rather cruel, no? But what if this cruelty was bestowed upon her by her most intimate, trusted lover? Isn't that crueler? Ji Shuran's smile deepened as he looked at Si Yihan. Emperor Ji, your philosophy is growing more superb. However, whether it's cruel or not, it's someone else's business. Minding your own business is more important than anything, Si Yihan said indifferently. Then he raised his chess piece and captured one of Ji Shuran's chess pieces. Heh. I've always heard that Lord Azura is rather talented in martial arts. I've wanted to exchange notes with you for a long time. There's no time like the present, so how about we have a go? Ji Shuran smiled detachedly. A second later, Ji Shuran lifted his right fist and slowly placed it on the chessboard. At the same time, a loud bang rang out and the chess piece, made from unknown materials, instantly shattered into pieces. Everyone in the banquet grew silent and looked at Si Yihan and Ji Shuran. What's going on? Isn't that Emperor Ji and Lord Azura? Big Dipper was astonished. Damn! Did those two get angry from playing chess? 7-Star glanced at Big Dipper. Do you think you can get angry from playing chess? Isn't that nonsense? Big Dipper looked at 7-Star. It's the same logic as playing Fight the Landlord. You can beat me once, you can beat me twice, but if you freaking beat me 8 or 10 times in a row and won't let me win even once, see if I'd beat you to death. If I don't beat you to death, I'm gonna fatally smack my head against the ground, and you won't need to bury me. 7-Star, damn. Look, everyone. Emperor Ji and Lord Azura got angry from playing chess. Their shame turned into anger and they're going to fight. Big Dipper excitedly shouted at the top of his lungs. Everyone spread around the Shin residence flooded toward them. In the independent state, it was normally harder than ascending the heavens to see Lord Azura and Emperor Ji's faces, let alone seeing them fight. They'd all heard that Emperor Ji and Lord Azura were extremely strong martially, but no one had witnessed them before, so who wouldn't want to see them in action considering this opportunity today? Yi Wanwan reflexively turned to Lord Azura and Ji Xiuran, bewildered. These two. Chapter 1548 Yi Wanwan stopped drinking tea with Patriarch Shen and instantly turned to look at Lord Azura and Ji Xiuran when she heard Big Dipper. These two people are actually playing a game of chess. They're going to fight because they got hot-tempered from playing chess? Yi Wanwan shook her head in disbelief. If it was Big Dipper who got hot-tempered from playing chess, she wouldn't find it strange. But if it was someone at Ji Xiuran and Lord Azura's level, it absolutely wasn't possible. These two people looked fine playing a game of chess and looked as close as brothers a second ago, so why did they start fighting a second later? Jiang Yan immediately stepped forward and placed himself in front of Si Yihan as he coldly stared at Ji Xiuran. Before Jiang Yan could do anything, Skeleton walked out from the crowd and came face to face with Jiang Yan. Skeleton, retreat, Ji Xiuran lightly called as he looked at Skeleton. Skeleton furrowed his brows and wanted to say something but swallowed his words, retreating as Ji Xiuran ordered. Jiang Yan, Lord Azura called aloofly. My lord, Jiang Yan urgently said, your injuries, they've recovered already, Lord Azura replied. But, Jiang Yan wanted to say something else, but Lord Azura interrupted him, retreat. Jiang Yan gritted his teeth but naturally didn't dare to disobey an order from Lord Azura, so he helplessly retreated. Ji Xiuran instantly took action and appeared in front of Si Yihan with a single step. He lifted his right arm, and his palm dropped. The motion of his palm was like ripples in water, and the wind from his strike arrived before his palm. In a fraction of a second, Lord Azura also struck with his palm, unperturbed. Lord Azura and Ji Xiuran's palms clashed like two meteorites that deviated from their orbits. A second later, a resounding bang sent everyone's eardrums vibrating. Ji Xiuran's figure was graceful like an immortal while Lord Azura looked like he was taking a stroll in the snow. Every hit and strike caused the viewers' hearts to beat with fear. Yi Wanwan was utterly dumbstruck by the sight of Lord Azura and Ji Xiuran actually fighting. This match was absolutely unexpected. Logically speaking, she shouldn't act unconcerned. Next to her, Patriarch Shen's brows locked together as he watched Lord Azura and Ji Xiuran. Despite being the host, he didn't do anything as though he didn't plan to interfere. Every guest was shocked. For people at Lord Azura and Emperor Ji's level, they reasonably shouldn't start fighting at this kind of setting no matter what deep animosities they had. Not a single person who advanced to their status was rash or imprudent, and there was no way they couldn't differentiate what was important. Even if they were really going to fight, they should have waited until the Shin family's banquet ended. Strange. What in the world happened? Why did Emperor Ji and Lord Azura start fighting at the Shin family's banquet? A guest asked in shock. I think Big Dipper from Fearless Alliance said that. Emperor Ji and Lord Azura got hot-tempered from playing chess, so they started fighting, got hot-tempered from a game of chess? Many guests were dumbstruck. Was this an astronomical joke? Who were Emperor Ji and Lord Azura? How could they have gotten hot-tempered from a chess match and started fighting? Only an idiot would say something like that. When Seven Star heard everyone's discussion, he silently retreated back and distanced himself from Big Dipper. Chapter 1549, 1549 Yi Wanwan looked bewildered as she sat in the VIP seats. With the current situation, should I go help Ji Xiuran? She was Ji Xiuran's fiancée in name. It might be unrelated to her and Bro Flattop's business whether it was an underground or public relationship, but wasn't she currently acting as Bro Flattop? If she didn't help Ji Xiuran, it would be hard to justify. However, in a match between top experts like Ji Xiuran and Lord Azura, she'd probably do more harm than good if she approached them. It also didn't seem too realistic for her to pull them apart. It'd be best if she did nothing. Nia Linglong expressionlessly swept her eyes across the venue. This development at the Shin family's banquet this time was rather unexpected. Emperor Ji actually started fighting with Lord Azura, Linglong. If you want to gain dominance over the independent state, Yi Wanwan must die, worryless Nia, who was standing in front of Nia Linglong, said quietly. Nia Linglong glanced at worryless Nia. Do you think that piece of trash can stop me? Worryless Nia turned pensive. Worryless Nia was fully aware of Nia Linglong's ambitions. She wanted to dominate the entire independent state and stomp everything beneath her feet. I suddenly think worryless Nia is living very pitifully after she lost her memories. She's living in this world like a clown, and when we're bored, we can come and watch this clown's clumsy performance. Isn't that delightful? Nia Linglong chuckled softly. Say, isn't it more interesting to watch her live as someone else without any memories than to let her die? Linglong, didn't you want to kill her? Asked worryless Nia. Nia Linglong smiled frostily. Is worryless Nia worthy of attracting my attention, or is she worthy of making me attack? She added, even if she regained her memories, worryless Nia, in my eyes, is nothing. Heh. Of course. Who does worryless Nia think she is? She doesn't deserve even a glance from you, Linglong, worryless Nia said with a snort. Neither the Nia family nor the independent state knew how terrifying the current Nia Linglong was, but she knew it clearly. Nia Linglong might deem Yi Wanwan beneath her, but worryless Nia wanted Yi Wanwan to die without a burial place. She was worryless Nia now. Worryless Nia's everything belonged to her, including Ji Xiuran. Yi Wanwan was unworthy of gaining Ji Xiuran's favor and intimacy. More than that, she was unworthy of taking a single step inside the Nia residence. Ha! Worryless Nia, lips turned up with an icy smile as she stared at Yi Wanwan in the VIP seats. Does she really think she's President Fearless? Allowing her to jump around 2 more days wasn't a big deal. After the banquet ended, she would personally send people to the Fearless Alliance to expose Yi Wanwan's identity. At that time, she wouldn't need to do anything and could watch Yi Wanwan die miserably. Before worryless Nia could get any further in her thoughts, waves of explosions were heard in front of her. Emperor Ji and Lord Azura's fight didn't cease at all and continued without a hitch. Chapter 1550. I've previously heard of Lord Azura's extraordinary talent. From the looks of it, it's truly not just hearsay, Ji Xiuran said with an aloof smile aimed at Lord Azura. You're good yourself, Lord Azura icily replied as he expressionlessly glanced at Ji Xiuran. Yi Wanwan frowned deeply when she saw unyielding atmosphere and caught sight of nameless Nia, who was watching them while eating imaginary popcorn. Yi Wanwan immediately left the VIP seats and walked to nameless Nia. Stop eating, Yi Wanwan said to nameless Nia. Nameless Nia looked bewildered. What? Go help them, Yi Wanwan instructed. Help them? Nameless Nia was startled. What did Yi Wanwan mean? He asked reflexively, help who? What do you mean help who? I'm talking about pulling them apart, Yi Wanwan explained. Nameless Nia shook his head. The 2 big bosses are fighting, so why would a small boss like me join in? Moreover, what's it got to do with me? You really won't go? Yi Wanwan stared at nameless Nia. I won't. Whoever goes is a bastard, nameless Nia proclaimed. Ah, Yi Wanwan sighed helplessly and took out a stack of bills from her purse. Then it looks like this money doesn't have any fate with you. What a pity, truly a pity. Nameless Nia looked at the stack of $100 bills in Yi Wanwan's hand and snatched it. He furrowed his brows. My good sister, What nonsense are you spewing? You and I are sworn brothers who go through thick and thin together and won't abandon each other even in death. Considering our relationship, I'm just a word away if you need anything." After saying that, Nameless Nya stuffed the stack of bills into his pocket. This was Nameless Nya indeed. "Alright, my good sister, tell me how I should pull them apart." Nameless Nya chuckled ingratiatingly. "Make them stop fighting." Yi Wanwan was exasperated. "Alright, I'll try." Nameless Nya nodded and sprinted toward Ji Shiran and Lord Azura. Ji Shiran and Lord Azura were still fighting, and the match was growing more intense. "Shiran." Nameless Nya suddenly embraced Ji Shiran from behind. Ji Shiran's brows furrowed. He couldn't comprehend Nameless Nya's actions. "Quick, quick, quick, follow me. Uncle Ji had an accident just now and was hit by a car. He's in the hospital and couldn't contact you, so he called me just now. Hurry and follow me to the hospital to take a look." The driver who hit Uncle Ji pulled a hit and run. Nameless Nya looked extremely anxious and not a single flaw could be spotted. He acted like Ji Shiran's father really was hit by a car. Ji Shiran was instantly taken back. Upon seeing Ji Shiran embraced from behind by Nameless Nya, Lord Azura didn't take advantage of the moment or continue attacking. Instead, he stood some distance away with his arms behind his back. "We'll exchange pointers another day," Ji Shiran said to Lord Azura before swiftly following Nameless Nya out of the venue. Yi Wanwan was dumbfounded. She had Nameless Nya pull them apart but absolutely didn't expect him to pull them apart like this. Nameless Nya was seriously the first person to break up a fight like this. He was probably the only one who would think of this method. When Lord Azura saw that Ji Shiran stopped bothering him and left the Shin residence, a bewitchingly cold glint surfaced in his eyes, and he expressionlessly turned around to return to his seat and drink a cup of green tea. Chapter 1551. Ji Shiran's followers were all baffled. Patriarch Ji was hit by a car. Why was it Nameless Nya instead of them who received the news? They found it odd but no one dared to say anything. What if Patriarch Ji really got hit? Yi Wanwan finally relaxed when she saw Ji Shiran and Lord Azura's conflict subsiding. If she allowed them to keep fighting, who knew when they'd stop? Moreover, Ji Shiran and Lord Azura's match didn't only concern them, it also concerned the powers under Emperor Ji and Lord Azura. If these two factions started fighting, the consequences were inconceivable. Yi Wanwan walked to Lord Azura and sat across from him, silent as she intently stared at this incredibly familiar face. It was nearly 10 minutes before the man finally looked at her and asked coldly, "Have you seen enough yet, President Bai?" Yi Wanwan beamed. "Lord Azura is so good-looking, how could I ever see enough?" Yi Wanwan didn't wait for Lord Azura to respond before continuing, "I'm very curious about why Lord Azura started fighting with Emperor Ji. Could it be what Big Dipper said, Lord Azura and Emperor Ji became hot-tempered from playing chess?" Lord Azura was silent for a moment before replying, "President Bai can interpret it like that." She didn't realize Lord Azura was rather talented at spinning tales. "Esteemed Lord Azura, I have something to show you," Yi Wanwan said with a light chuckle as her eyes shifted. "What is it?" Lord Azura asked indifferently. "I didn't bring the object, it's at my house. May I ask if Lord Azura has the time to follow me home and take a look?" Yi Wanwan asked. At that time, she would bring Great White back to the unlucky house. As long as Lord Azura came, she didn't believe she wouldn't be able to feel him out. "We'll talk when I have time." Lord Azura languidly stood up and left with Jiang Yen and his other followers. "Great, it's a date then, esteemed Lord Azura. You can't go back on your word, alright?" Yi Wanwan's lips turned with an ineffable smile. If Lord Azura really was Si Yihan, there was no way Great White wouldn't recognize him. A wild beast like Great White didn't only recognize people by sight but also by scent. Lord Azura definitely didn't expect Great White to be at the Fearless Alliance right now. Considering Lord Azura's identity, it wouldn't be suitable to have him personally visit the Fearless Alliance, but it wouldn't be any problem if he visited the unlucky house. Not long after Lord Azura left, Ji Xiuran returned and inspected the surroundings. Ji Xiuran walked toward Yuanwan. "Xiuran, how's uncle?" she asked. "He's fine," Ji Xiuran answered. "What about brother Nameless?" Yuanwan probed. "He fled," Ji Xiuran replied honestly. Yuanwan, Ji Xiuran looked at her. "Where's Lord Azura?" "I don't know. Probably left. From now on, you aren't permitted to go near Lord Azura." Ji Xiuran's tone was more forceful than ever before and didn't allow her any room to question or disagree with him. Why? Yuanwan was very curious. She wanted to know what caused Ji Xiuran to shed all pretenses with Lord Azura in this kind of setting and even start fighting with him. "You want to know?" Ji Xiuran's cosmos-like eyes stared at her. "I do," she nodded. "Of course I want to know." Chapter 1552 Why didn't he permit her to go near Lord Azura? Yuanwan was pondering over that when she heard Ji Xiuran speak. "Because you're my fiancé." Ah. She didn't expect this response from Ji Xiuran and started choking. Emperor Ji can't be jealous, right? Lately, Ji Xiuran retained his graceful and aloof attitude no matter what, so she really couldn't associate him with something like jealousy. Moreover, Bai Feng wasn't his fiancé, she was just his secret lover. Wasn't his fiancé worryless Nye? Yuanwan didn't thoroughly understand Bai Feng and Ji Xiuran's situation though, so she had no choice but to laugh wryly and refrain from speaking carelessly. At this time, worryless Nye suddenly started walking toward them, and Yuanwan hastily took the opportunity to leave. Well, I still have something to do, so I'll be leaving now." Then she immediately dragged the unwilling Big Dipper, whose mouth was dripping with grease, and 7 Star out of the Shin residence. In the distance, she could see worryless Nye daintily standing in front of Ji Xiuran and saying something to him. Yuanwan saw that 7 Star looked relieved in the car and turned to him with raised brows. "Why do you look like you've been relieved of a heavy burden?" Big Dipper kept eating the pastry he took with him as he said, "Do you need to ask?" "Emperor Ji and Lord Azura actually appeared at the same time tonight, but you managed to hold back from throwing yourself at the lure of 2 beauties, Sis Feng. It's simply too surprising." "Do you need to be so surprised?" 7 Star hesitatingly said, "Sis Feng, these 2 aren't people the Fearless Alliance can provoke. Last time, Sis Feng, it was too dangerous how you gave flowers to Emperor Ji and snuck into Azura's place in the middle of the night. Thankfully, you returned safely and Emperor Ji didn't give you trouble afterward, but you won't be so lucky every single time." Seeing that 7 Star was nagging her again, Yuanwan helplessly waved her hand. I know. I was just bored last time and casually having fun. Don't be so nervous. Look at you, you're only in your teens, but I would think you're 70 or 80 if I didn't know any better." 7 Star. She did something so dangerous because she was bored? She can casually have fun about something like this? 7 Star frowned deeply. "Sis Feng, stop. I promise. I promise I won't wreak havoc again. You can return your heart to your chest." 7 Star intently examined her vehement attitude for a moment before believing her. Yuanwan relaxed when 7 Star stopped nagging. "Heh. Won't wreak havoc? Impossible. My plan finally progressed to this stage after great difficulty." She didn't know why Emperor Ji started fighting today, but a certain person, oh right. "Big Dipper, 7 Star, help me transport Little White and Little Black to my place." Yuanwan instructed while rubbing her chin. Knowing that Sis Feng really liked those 2, Big Dipper and 7 Star didn't think too much about it and nodded in agreement. Yuanwan returned to her unlucky house. Soon, Big Dipper and 7 Star sent Virus and Slaughter over. Perhaps 7-star detected something since he stared anxiously at Yuan Wan. Sis Feng, you really won't do anything? Yuan Wan nodded frantically. I won't. 7-star was going to say something else, but Yuan Wan's eyes shifted, and she immediately suggested, if you two are worried, do you want to stay here with me tonight? Chapter 1553. As soon as Big Dipper heard that, he stared at the eerie haunted house behind Yuan Wan. He shuddered, and his hair stood on its end. No need, Sis Feng. We believe you. Absolutely believe you. Bye. Good night. Then he immediately dragged 7-star with him and ran off into the distance. Who would want to live in this damn place? Yuan Wan nodded with satisfaction at successfully scaring those two away. It appeared this unlucky house that was on the brink of sending her into a nervous breakdown from fright was a tad useful. Yuan Wan was about to enter when she saw a flash of lightning in the distant sky. It turned dark and cloudy in the evening, so a rainstorm was probably coming tonight. Although Yuan Wan had become more accustomed to it, this bloody place's fear factor when it was gloomy and raining could give her a heart attack from terror. Thankfully, she brought Great White and Little Black back today, and they could keep her company. To prevent Big Dipper and 7-star from nagging her non-stop, Yuan Wan didn't have them run errands for her and sent Luying to help her send a letter to Lord Azura instead. Yuan Wan sat on the sofa and petted Great White's large, furry head with a smile on her lips. She had Great White prepared and just needed favorable circumstances to arrive. While petting Great White, another large, furry, and black head butted into her hand and the owner of the head growled as he shoved Great White away. Yuan Wan quickly scratched the jealous virus. All right, be good, Little Black. Pet, I'll also pet you. You're the most well-behaved. At the same time at Azura's manor, Jiang Yan apprehensively handed a letter to Lord Azura. He couldn't bear to look at this letter. The letter was tied to a brilliant and beautiful red rose. The scent of perfume emanated from the letter, and pink hearts were printed on the envelope. The bearer of the letter said it's a letter from the president of the Fearless Alliance, Bai Feng, asking to meet with you tonight, Jiang Yan explained with his head downcast, as he recalled the scene featuring Lord Azura and Bai Feng that he stumbled upon last time. Embarrassment, as well as fury, filled his heart. How could the Fearless Alliance humiliate his lord like that? After his lord's goo was treated, Azura absolutely wouldn't spare them. However, a cure for goo poison still hadn't been found, so they couldn't strike the Fearless Alliance. Bai Feng simply went too far. I heard she embarrassed Emperor Ji in the middle of the street a few days ago, and now she dares to humiliate Azura. Jiang Yan declared, enraged. Leave. The man sounded abnormally dark and cold. Jiang Yan trembled. Then this letter, Jiang Yan met his lord's dark expression and immediately said, I'll trash it immediately. That Bai Feng not only sent a letter to you but also sent one to Emperor Ji. She's simply, what did you say? The man's dark expression instantly turned into the dark, rolling clouds before a raging storm. Half an hour later, Yuan Wan's fingers tapped against the coffee table. She didn't know whether Si Yihan would come or not. She even specifically instructed Luying to add fuel to the fire and lie that he was also sending a letter to Emperor Ji. Quiet but heavy footsteps were heard in the night winds outside the door. Thud, thud, thud. The sound of knocking reverberated in the eerie haunted house, making the night appear more terrifying. Yuan Wan's eyes sharpened, and she nonchalantly stood up. Squeak. The main door was opened, and Yuan Wan grinned when she saw the extremely foreboding man standing outside the door. Welcome, esteemed Lord Azura. Your presence brings light to my humble dwelling, it's truly my honor. Chapter 1554. The man's mind instantly cleared up when he saw the girl's cunning eyes. He fell into her trap. However, if he didn't come, she might have really gone and met up with Ji Xiuran. She'd definitely do something like that. Hence, he only had one choice either way. Si Yihan felt like a ball of flame was stiflingly roaring in his chest, but he didn't say anything. Yi Wanwan cheerfully said, "Lord Azura, please enter." He stepped inside and the door was shut by the wind with a bang. "Close the door, release Great White." To guarantee the best outcome, she specifically relocated Little Black elsewhere. Yi Wanwan excitedly glanced at Great White lying on the carpet. "Great White, it's on you." Great White retained his wild nature and was extraordinarily cautious and rejected everyone except for Tang Tang and Si Yihan, his owner. Back then, she had to strenuously improve his impression of her for a long time before she could finally approach him. Great White's attitude toward familiar people compared to strangers was very obvious. As Yi Wanwan led Si Yihan into the house, she observed Great White's attitude. If Lord Azura was Si Yihan, Great White would remain relaxed even if he wasn't too passionate. However, if Lord Azura was a stranger, Great White would definitely roar in warning at him. "Please sit, Lord Azura." When Yi Wanwan saw Lord Azura looking at the white tiger, she imperceptibly said, "This is my pet." "May I ask if Lord Azura has ever raised a pet?" "Never," the man answered expressionlessly. This man was lying through his teeth. Great White lay on the carpet, unperturbed, without even looking up. Yi Wanwan smiled fakely and commented, "How strange. My white tiger would definitely growl viciously at strangers, but he's not reacting at all upon seeing you today, Lord Azura, is that so?" The man aloofly glanced at the tiger lying next to the sofa. Great White glanced up at the man, seemingly uninterested in attacking. Yi Wanwan looked unsurprised and snorted. "Of course. Unless he's facing someone he's extremely close to or, his owner, my white tiger absolutely wouldn't react like this. I wonder. When did Lord Azura meet my Great White? And get so familiar with him?" As Yi Wanwan pressingly asked, an earth-shattering roar was heard from next to her. Roar. Slaughter suddenly advanced toward and roared extremely viciously, exposing even his fangs. He was cautiously and threateningly staring at the man, as though he would pounce on the man at any moment. The man picked up a cup of tea and indifferently glanced at her. President Bai's pet seems to be a bit slow-witted in his reaction. Yi Wanwan was flabbergasted. A moment later, Yi Wanwan nearly exploded as she looked at the roaring and bristling Slaughter and the indifferent man across from her. "Slow-witted your sister? Damn! Great White, you faker. You're truly the same as your owner. I've misjudged you." Yi Wanwan gritted her teeth. "Good, wonderful. You're truly impressive, Lord Azura, I concede defeat to you. I don't understand what President Bai is saying." Roar. Yi Wanwan watched as the man played dumb but she had no solution, so she viciously glared at the growling Slaughter. "Enough, you faker. I've treated you so well for nothing. Watch me take you with me when I remarry." Chapter 1555. When the man heard Yi Wanwan's last sentence, his hand holding the teacup paused briefly. Yi Wanwan smiled insincerely as she wrapped her arms around Great White's face and started mushing his face. "But wait, I wasn't married to begin with, so it wouldn't be remarrying. I can naturally marry whoever I want. Am I right, Great White? So aggravating, so aggravating, so aggravating." Great White twisted his misshapen face to escape from her clutches before shaking his fur. Roar, control your woman. The man looked like he didn't hear Great White's indirect scolding. Of course, there was no way he would rescue a certain adorable pet. "If there's nothing else, President Bai, then I'll take my leave now." As soon as Yi Wanwan heard that, she released Great White and walked toward Lord Azura. Great White immediately escaped from her demon claws and disappeared without a trace. "Why are you in such a hurry, esteemed Lord Azura? I naturally invited you here today for business. You couldn't have forgotten that we won't have many days to live if the goo poison in us isn't cured. Aren't you worried in the slightest, esteemed Lord Azura?" The man sternly looked at her. "What are you thinking, President Bai?" Yi Wanwan smiled. What am I thinking? I said last time that I already liked someone, so it's impossible for me to fall in love with anyone else. Hence, I invited Lord Azura to come here today to discuss solutions with Lord Azura. Lord Azura's eyes were akin to an unfathomable ocean. What solutions does President Bai have? Yi Wanwan's clear and dazzling eyes were focused on him as she said while stressing every word, "My love for Emperor Ji is stronger than gold and more solid than a rock. My love for him would only diminish if all the mountains disappeared, all the oceans dried up, thunder started rolling in the winter sky, snow started drifting on a blazing summer day, and heaven and earth melded into one. Hence, if the esteemed Lord Azura wants to cure the goo poison by having us fall in love with each other, I'm advising you to give up now. My relationship with my boyfriend is stronger than gold and more solid than a rock. My love for him would only diminish if all the mountains disappeared, all the oceans dried up, thunder started rolling in the winter sky, snow started drifting on a blazing summer day, and heaven and earth melded into one. So you should just give up." Lord Azura felt like time suddenly rewound to the past. The girl's clear and happy voice was ringing next to his ears. Back then, she was still a little afraid of him, but she tried to please him in every way possible and once told him that someone pursued her at school. However, she was well behaved and told that guy she had a boyfriend already and said those lines to him. Now though, the same words were repeated to him, but she was referring to another man. Ji Xiuran, this chapter is scrapped from Riyadh Light Novel. This name corroded him like a venomous curse. The man asked aloofly, "Is that so?" Yi Wanwan didn't know whether she was imagining it, but his impenetrable and flawless expression looked the same, yet he also seemed to have changed somehow. Of course, Yi Wanwan replied with conviction and was about to continue when pain radiated from her lips all of a sudden. Scorching heat enveloped her lips and a blanketing aura engulfed her. The besieging and storming kiss caused Yi Wanwan's eyes to shoot open and nearly jump out of its sockets. She was originally driven into a corner by anger and wanted to regain her pride and aggravate him even if she couldn't make him expose himself, but she didn't expect things to develop like this. What took her by further surprise was that the man actually grasped her fingers after the kiss ended and guided her hand in unbuttoning his shirt one by one. Soon, the man's neck, collarbones, and chest were released from their confines as button after button turned loose. Yi Wanwan dazedly felt like she was ignited and couldn't do anything but accusingly and indignantly glare at the man in front of her. Fuck. This is too excessive. He, actually went so far as to use the honeypot trap. Chapter 1556, 1556, is that so? President Bai can have a try first. Yi Wanwan was outraged by this man's seduction. The honeypot trap was her trump card tonight. So why was it him who used it first in the end? The progression of this plot was illogical. No. I have to stay strong. Stay strong. Stay strong. She had to be the one in control tonight, she couldn't allow this man to lead her by a leash. Yi Wanwan took a deep breath and restrained herself from glancing at the half-naked chest. She hypnotized herself into thinking it was just a slab of stone underneath her hand and tried her best to enter the mode of a meditating old monk. Esteemed Lord Azura, what are you doing? Please respect yourself. It's utterly useless even if you act like this. If I like a person, I'd be wholeheartedly devoted to him, and he'd be the only person in my eyes and heart. Other beautiful men in my eyes are nothing but passing clouds. I'm not someone that can be mesmerized by beautiful men. The world claims I'm wanton and unrestrained, but I'm actually an honorable person. Before she could finish speaking, a scorching kiss sealed her lips again. Honorable. Your ass. Yi Wanwan leaped up and forcefully pounced on him. A second later, a thud was heard as the couple fell onto the sofa behind them. Yi Wanwan pressed the man hard against the sofa and ripped off the final buttons on his shirt before releasing a frustrated scream and biting his collarbone, leaving red marks behind. The man grunted and his ferocious eyes shifted to extreme gentleness and indulgence. His hand loosely wrapped around her waist to prevent her from accidentally rolling off the sofa. President Bai seems to be saying one thing but means another. Yuan didn't care how she kept humiliatingly proving herself wrong and grumbled with a snort, "Ha, no wonder Lord Azura isn't worried at all despite death being so close at hand. It turns out you're confident about your charm and don't think there's anyone you can't charm. Do you think I'm who you think I am? I'm telling you, you're right." Then, she barbarously bit his lips. All the man's defenses collapsed completely under the girl's soft body and soothing warmth. In the next second, Lord Azura gripped her waist and their positions switched in the blink of an eye. Before the man could press down a kiss, Yuan didn't forget her business and tilted her head slightly to the side to dodge him. Rumors claim that the esteemed Lord Azura retains his distance from women, but it appears you're also saying one thing while meaning another. The man expressionlessly replied, "President Bai, I'm Lord Azura, but I'm also a normal man." Yuan instantly became enraged by this man's matter-of-fact tone. "So Lord Azura is saying you're only acting like this toward me because you're having a normal male biological response?" The man's expression froze for a minute and didn't say anything, but judging from his expression, he was agreeing tacitly. Yuan snorted. "Lord Azura, allow me to remind you about something. A one-night stand can't cure the goo. Love goo was the king of Gus, so it couldn't be cured so easily. It required two people to love each other genuinely. In other words, if this goo was cured in the end, it meant he was lying." When the man heard her, his gaze darkened slightly and chilled. "Before reminding me, President Bai, shouldn't you also remind yourself why you're acting so unnecessarily tonight if you're truly wholeheartedly devoted to Emperor Ji?" Chapter 1557. Yuan gritted her teeth before beaming and replying, "You're right. I'm wholeheartedly devoted to Emperor Ji. Even if I fluttered through a flower field, my heart still won't change. However, how am I acting unnecessarily? You're Lord Azura after all, so I'd live without any regrets if I could sleep with you once even if it doesn't cure the goo." The icy light in the man's eyes exploded almost instantly, and he stared at her as though he wanted to devour her whole. Every word she spoke treated Ji Shuran as an adored god that she could watch from afar but couldn't touch obscenely while he was a flower field that she could hunt in her leisure time. Did she do everything she once did to him with the intention of hunting a beautiful man? What about back then? Was this also why she pretended to be a minor leader of the Fearless Alliance, infiltrated Azura, and got close to him in every way possible? Which was why she disappeared without a trace after sleeping with him. When he thought up to this point, he felt like his heart was being torn apart and his entire body was burning in a raging inferno. Yuan watched as his gaze became increasingly terrifying and his face turned increasingly pallid. She probably angered him to his limit this time. If this was in the past, she wouldn't have dared to utter such suicidal words, but this was a pressing time. Every method she employed was useless, so she had to resort to extreme methods. Outside the door, the winds howled and whistled. Thud, thud, thud. The sound of knocking abruptly rang alongside the winds. This late? Who's knocking? It was a crucial moment right now, and the man was about to expose a flaw. Yuan naturally couldn't give up halfway, so she ignored the knocking. However, the knocking persisted rhythmically. Yuan decisively ignored it and was about to add some fuel and provoke him some more when a male voice was heard outside the door. "Xiaofeng. Are you home?" "Shit. Ji Shuran." Yuan flopped up like a fish out of water and accidentally knocked over a cup on the coffee table, creating a piercing, shattering sound. Damn. Why did Ji Shuran suddenly come over at this kind of time? Seriously. Perhaps since he heard the sound of a cup breaking, Ji Shuran's knocking and voice turned more urgent. "Xiaofeng, are you okay?" Yuan's back stiffened, and she spun around in circles anxiously. "Lord Azura, hurry and hide." Ji Shuran sounded like he thought something happened to her and was about to break the door down. He was on the verge of entering, so it would be too late even if they left through the back door. Yuan's eyes scanned the living room and caught a gigantic cabinet on the side. She was about to say something when Ji Shuran called again. Xiaofeng. Ah. I'm fine, I'm fine. Why did you come here so late? Did something happen? Yi Wanwan hastily yelled. At the same time, Yi Wanwan urged the man on the sofa. Quick, quick, quick. A layer of frost spread across the man's face as he watched Yi Wanwan's panicked and anxious appearance. He languidly sat up and nonchalantly fastened 2 of the buttons on his shirt before sitting up motionlessly. Fuck. Didn't karma come too quickly? Yi Wanwan wanted to bawl. She plopped down on her knees in front of the sofa and laid her head against the man's knees, her eyes teary and her voice soft beyond imagination. Lord Azura, please, please. I won't forget your great kindness for the rest of my life. Chapter 1558. The girl rubbed her soft face against his knees as she pitifully looked up at him, causing the frost blanketing his face, the raging inferno incinerating his heart, and the pain cleaving his body to all ebb a few degrees in the blink of an eye. As soon as Yi Wanwan saw that the situation had taken a promising turn, she rolled up and grabbed his arm before swiftly pushing him toward the gigantic cabinet. She opened the cabinet doors. Please hide inside, Lord Azura. The man looked at the cabinet behind him, then the front door, and his slightly eased-up expression instantly chilled again. Yi Wanwan was acting like she was about to get caught in bed with her lover by her real boyfriend. This damn woman. A loud bang was heard. Ji Shuran was probably worried that something had happened inside and started violently slamming the door. Yi Wanwan was drowning in regret about pissing him off earlier. She used his shoulders as support and tried to press a kiss against his lips. Please, pretty please. The man leaned his face to the side and evaded her. Shit. I really pissed him off this time. Ah. Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows and suddenly clutched her stomach in agony. It hurts. Then Yi Wanwan took advantage of the distraction, forcefully shoved him into the cabinet and slammed the door shut before locking it from the outside with a kachak. The second before she closed the doors, she saw the man's extremely furious and terrifying expression. At the same time, the main door was slammed open from the outside. Ji Shuran entered the house. Yi Wanwan ran over, soaked in sweat. Ahem, why are you here? What happened? Ji Shuran's eyes imperceptibly examined the living room. Yi Wanwan cautiously blocked the cabinet from his line of sight and replied sleepily, as though she just woke up, nothing, I just accidentally knocked over a teacup. Hurry and sit. Let me get some tea for you. You have a visitor. Ji Shuran glanced at the coffee table. Aside from the teacup she shattered, there was another cup sitting across from it. Yi Wanwan's heart skipped a beat. As she cleaned up the broken pieces, she explained, 7-Star came over and sat for a little bit earlier. It's so late already. Did you need something? Ji Shuran stared at the teacup for a few more seconds before sitting down on the sofa. He acted like he believed her and wore a faint smile like always. Not much. I just felt like I needed to explain to you that there's nothing going on between worryless Nya and me. That's all. Yi Wanwan hastily said, It's nothing, it's nothing. I don't mind at all. I believe you, of course. I believe everything you say. Is that so? Of course. Yi Wanwan nodded frantically. Then I hope you'll also listen to what I said to you at the Shin estate today, Ji Shuran said. What did Ji Shuran say to her tonight? Yi Wanwan's mind was in a disordered state right now, so she tried her best to recall what he said. She finally remembered and quickly said, You told me not to go near Lord Azura. I know, I heard you. I'll listen to you seriously, of course. Yi Wanwan solemnly vowed, Don't worry. I absolutely won't go near him. As soon as she said that, a thud was heard from the direction of the cabinet. Ji Shuran's eyes instantly shot toward the origin of the sound, a sharpness flickering through his eyes. All the hairs on Yi Wanwan's body stood on end from fright. Shit! Chapter 1559. At that moment, a black figure sauntered out from behind the cabinet. Yuanwan's eyes shifted and she quickly said, "Virus, why are you so naughty?" She decisively shoved the blame onto Virus. When Virus walked past the cabinet, he seemed to have detected something and suspiciously halted in front of the cabinet and sniffed the air before releasing a low warning growl. "Damn! Don't undermine me, little black." Yuanwan hastily slapped the spot next to her on the sofa and commanded, "Virus, come over." Roar. The Black Panther hesitated between the cabinet and Yuanwan before choosing Yuanwan and walking toward her. The Black Panther nimbly leaped onto the sofa and skillfully propped his head on Yuanwan's lap. Yuanwan appeasingly scratched Virus' chin, causing him to squint in comfort and completely forget about the cabinet. That was close. Yuanwan finally relaxed when she saw Ji Shuran stop focusing on the cabinet. She cleared her throat and said, "Ha, it's so late already, I won't keep you any longer. It looks like it's about to rain, so you should leave soon." Ji Shuran picked up his cup. "No hurry." "Yuanwan. What do you mean no hurry?" "I'm in a great hurry, alright. Who knows how much longer that boss can tolerate staying inside the cabinet." "Xiaofeng, I know you like to have fun and like good-looking people. However, you can like anyone but Lord Azura, do you understand?" Ji Shuran's tone remained as gentle as always, but his eyes contained a severeness that had never been there before. "Understood, understood. I really don't have any feelings for Lord Azura. That guy is always so eerie and stern-looking. He's so scary. I wouldn't take a fancy to him no matter how good-looking he is, alright." Yuanwan only wanted Ji Shuran to hurry and leave, so she would agree to everything he said. Who cared what he said, it was right regardless. However, this way, she'd probably terribly offend the other person. For the first time ever, Yuanwan felt like she was facing a crisis she'd never encountered before in her pacifying career. "I probably can't pacify his fur. I'm very picky. I prefer men who are gentle and like to smile." Yuanwan was forced to first pacify the man before her in this tragic situation. Ji Shuran chuckled softly upon hearing that. That smile. Truthfully, Ji Shuran's attack power was too immense whenever he smiled. Yuanwan regained her wits and slapped her head. What kind of time was it? How could she dwell on this nonsense? Thankfully though, Ji Shuran finally believed her. "It's really late. You should sleep soon." Yes, you too." All the tenseness rushed out of Yuanwan, and she didn't notice how Ji Shuran imperceptibly glanced at that simple cabinet. "I'll walk you out," Yuanwan eagerly exclaimed. A second before Yuanwan stood up to walk Ji Shuran out, a wave of chaotic footsteps was heard from the outside. On the tail was Big Dipper's signature, unnecessarily loud voice. "Sis Feng. Sis Feng. Are you asleep? Big Dipper. Fuck me." It sounded like there were quite a number of people with Big Dipper. Didn't he leave? What the heck was he doing so late at night? "No. I can't let Big Dipper and the others see you." Yuanwan was about to go insane. What was worse was that the lock on the door was destroyed by Ji Shuran earlier, so the door was unlocked. The sound of Big Dipper's footsteps approached, and the door was slowly being pushed open. There was only one place she could hide someone in the entire living room. Chapter 1560. If Big Dipper and Seven Stars saw Ji Shuran here, she would be nagged until she died. Additionally, her relationship with Emperor Ji had to be kept a secret from other people. "I'll hide," Ji Shuran said and walked to the giant cabinet. When Ji Shuran was about to open the cabinet door, Yuanwan shouted, "Don't." The door was locked and couldn't be opened from the inside, but it could be opened from the outside. Yuanwan watched as Emperor Ji opened the cabinet door, and his gentle and warm eyes clashed with the frosty and stormy eyes resting inside the cabinet. Yuanwan shut her eyes with an anguished wail. The life of a sinner. Sis Feng. Sis Feng. Why is your door broken, Sis Feng? Yi Wanwan face-bombed and had no choice but to push Ji Shuran inside. She pleadingly peered at the two bosses inside and begged, sorry for the trouble. I'll kick them out ASAP. You two, get along peacefully, don't start fighting in there. She really wanted to cry. Ji Shuran glanced at the man next to him and calmly smiled. Sure. Ji Shuran is Ji Shuran. He could still smile despite seeing another man in the cabinet and didn't react strangely at all. What kind of terrifying figure did she provoke? As for Lord Azura, his eyes were like daggers as he glanced at her before calmly closing his eyes. Yi Wanwan hastily shut the cabinet doors. The second the doors closed, Big Dipper and Seven Star entered. Big Dipper plopped down on the sofa and picked up the tea Emperor Ji drank previously and gulped it down. He didn't notice at all that the cup was still warm and someone was just there. Sis Feng, why is your door broken? Wasn't it fine when we left earlier? But it's fine, I'm talented at installing doors, so I'll help you fix it in a jiffy. Leave it to me. Big Dipper, who'd become experienced with installing doors, gloated. Why, are you two back? Yi Wanwan fumed inwardly at the duo. Big Dipper replied, we have something very important of course. Yi Wanwan smiled insincerely. Ha! If the sky isn't falling down, I'll beat you to death. It's related to your life, Sis Feng, so how could the sky not be falling down? Then Big Dipper clapped his hands and said, enter. A dozen or so people poured into the house. Yi Wanwan's eyes flitted over the newcomers. They were all handsome young men. There was a man for every style and demeanor, and their looks were several times better than the batch Big Dipper hastily found last time. It appeared he exerted quite the effort to find these people this time. Yi Wanwan pinched her eyebrows, a headache on the horizon. Again? Didn't I tell you to stop it already? Moreover, it's useless for my circumstances even if you found people. Big Dipper leaned in close to Yi Wanwan and said, how's it useless? I heard that thing could affect your body, making it secrete some hormones or something and could make you lose control easier. Your recent behavior proves it's true. Don't lose your life before you treat the goo in you. Sis Feng, make do with them for now. It'll stop you from acting suicidally over and over again. Let's cut off all thoughts about Emperor Ji and Lord Azura, okay? Although Seven Star didn't speak, he probably agreed with Big Dipper's actions. In order to quickly coax these two into leaving, Yi Wanwan earnestly said, didn't I already say that I was bored earlier? In your eyes, am I really someone who would lose all rationality because I got muddled in the head by beautiful men? Chapter 1561, 1561 Seven Star chose to stay silent while Big Dipper nodded vehemently. Aren't you? Get over here. I promise I won't beat you to death. Big Dipper instantly hid behind Seven Star. Sis Feng, I've known you for many years, so I know you inside and out. Stop lying to yourself. You haven't even looked at them, so how would you know there aren't any that you like? Take a close look at them. I was in a rush last time, but I picked them out carefully this time. I wasn't even so careful when picking a wife. Take a look first. Ha! As soon as she thought about the two men inside the cabinet, she wasn't in the mood to enjoy even celestial fairies descending from the heavens, alright? Yi Wanwan casually glanced at the group of men. The men Big Dipper found this time all had extremely good looks indeed and left an outstanding impression on her. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be hard if there was no comparison. In contrast to the two men inside her cabinet. They couldn't blame her for being disinterested at a single look. In order to ward off Big Dipper and Seven Star, Yi Wanwan randomly picked one. That one. Big Dipper looked at the one she chose. He looked especially adorable with dimples on his cheeks, standing timidly in place. Big Dipper grumbled, Sis Feng, stop fooling around. How could you possibly like this type? Choose sincerely, don't just brush me off. Come here, take a look to see how you like this one. He pulled Yi Wanwan to the side like he was showing off a treasure and pointed at the last person. Look at this one. How is he? Yi Wanwan looked at the man Big Dipper was pointing at. The man was wearing a white suit, and he had natural flax-colored hair and light gray eyes. His looks were exquisitely pretty, and he was smiling gently. What made her raise her brows was that the man's features shared some resemblance to Si Yihan. Yi Wanwan murmured, this man was simply a fusion of Emperor Ji and Lord Azura. His temperament resembled Emperor Ji, but his looks resembled Lord Azura. How is he? Quite decent, right? He has all of Emperor Ji and Lord Azura's advantages. I had to search all over the independent state to find such a magnificent specimen. Big Dipper said excitedly. Yi Wanwan didn't carefully look at these people at all earlier. Now that she finally had a look, she had to admit that this man was pretty high quality purely from an admiration perspective, the kind that would be insanely popular by looks alone in the entertainment industry. He is pretty nice, Yi Wanwan said as she rubbed her chin. Joy flashed through the man's eyes when he heard Yi Wanwan. Right? I knew you'd like him. Think about it, when you're with this little beauty, it's like you're with both Emperor Ji and Lord Azura at the same time. How great is that? Big Dipper enthusiastically advertised. Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes. What did he mean, with both Emperor Ji and Lord Azura at the same time? Did he have to say something so terrifying? As Big Dipper observed Yi Wanwan's expression, he asked, how is he? How about I leave him here for you? One person definitely isn't enough for you, Sis Feng. How about I leave them all here for you? Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. Not enough your ass. No, I don't want any of them. Take them all away. I need to sleep, don't disturb me. I'm telling you, I'm utterly disinterested in beautiful men right now. Beautiful men are all passing clouds. Chapter 1562. Big Dipper pursed his lips and accused, Sis Feng, you're lying. You haven't given up on Emperor Ji and Lord Azura yet. 7-Star expressionlessly said, if Sis Feng doesn't like these ones, we can look again. Yi Wanwan wanted to pull her hair out from aggravation. These brats just won't listen to me. Big Dipper ordered the group of men to leave first before persistently saying, Sis Feng, I was afraid you wouldn't be satisfied, so the second and third batches are on the way already. I'll definitely make sure you find someone you're satisfied with. Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin and feebly said, I swear. I was just having fun because I was bored earlier. I really, truly, don't have any feelings for Emperor Ji and Lord Azura, okay? Really? Big Dipper evidently didn't believe her. Then why did you give 999 white roses to Emperor Ji in public and ask Emperor Ji out for a candlelit dinner? After you finished, you jumped over the wall of Azura's manor in the middle of the night to secretly meet up with Lord Azura and was wearing Lord Azura's clothes when you came back. Yi Wanwan didn't even have time to stop Big Dipper, and he already blurted everything out. She quickly glanced at the cabinet, terror-stricken, before viciously glaring at Big Dipper. Big Dipper, you ass. Fuck. You actually sold me out. Currently, inside the dim cabinet, electricity sparked as the two men's gazes collided together. The cabinet's soundproofing was decent, so people outside couldn't hear them if they spoke quietly. The narrow space barely fit two people. Ji Xiuran was reclining against the side as he calmly smiled and said, we meet again, what an honor. Si Yihan's eyes were aloof. What commendable willpower you have, Emperor Ji. Being able to remain so calm despite running into another man hiding in a cabinet at his fiancée's house in the middle of the night, wasn't his willpower commendable indeed? Ji Xiuran smiled. You flatter me too much. I merely trust Xiaofeng. The other man's confident and indifferent tone caused Si Yihan's originally chilly face to darken several more degrees. Si Yihan expressionlessly said, it appears Emperor Ji's understanding of her is merely thus. Ha! Ji Shuran chuckled dryly and looked at the other man aloofly. Since you said that, Lord Azura, you clearly don't understand me well either. Si Yihan remained expressionless. I don't think I'm interested in understanding you, Emperor Ji. Is that so? Ji Shuran's lips turned up. You will be. At the same time, outside the cabinet, Yi Wanwan hastily interrupted Big Dipper's non-stop blabbering and said, seething, of course it's true. Didn't you see how they were both at the banquet tonight, but I behaved and didn't do anything? I merely stirred up some trouble in private. Big Dipper scratched his head. Sis Feng, I can understand why you want to sleep with Lord Azura and Emperor Ji, but, those two aren't to be trifled with. Say, if you taint Lord Azura and Emperor Ji's innocent bodies and are unwilling to take responsibility, they will blow a fuse and want to punish our fearless alliance. They won't be easy to fend off. Also, your reputation will also turn rotten, Sis Feng. You freaking. Yi Wanwan frowned deeply. What nonsense are you spouting? There's absolutely nothing between me and Emperor Ji or Lord Azura. Really? Big Dipper looked bewildered. Seeing Seven Star and Big Dipper's expressions turn uncertain, Yi Wanwan persisted. Don't you know me from all these years? My taste changes very fast, so why would I waste so much time on the same person? Even if I was interested in those two before, as time goes on, that'd be the end of it, the duo inside the cabinet. Chapter 1563, That's true, Big Dipper nodded, and Seven Star also became uncertain. Bai Feng really had that kind of personality. Seeing that she stumbled upon the truth, she kept hammering in the nail. Right. No matter how good-looking Emperor Ji and Lord Azura are, they're merely just that after looking at them long enough. Inside the cabinet, the two men met each other's eyes. That's right. Big Dipper nodded vehemently. Sis Feng, those two are good-looking, but it's stressful to flirt with them. Take another look at these men, Sis Feng. TSK, their looks aren't horrible. In reality, they're all about the same when you turn off the lights, and you can do whatever you want without any stress or pressure. Am I right, Sis Feng? Yes. But I'm uninterested today. Next time, all right. Yi Wanwan eagerly waved her hand, wanting Seven Star and Big Dipper to get lost pronto. Sis Feng, you really don't want them? There's still a second batch whose looks are even better. Big Dipper hastily said. Don't. Didn't I say next time? Quickly go home and rest. Yi Wanwan fumed inwardly. How did these children not understand human speech? When Big Dipper and Seven Star finally looked convinced, a loud bang suddenly rang out from the gigantic cabinet. The lock on the cabinet clattered to the ground and the cabinet doors were slapped open from the inside, splintering and raining onto the floor in pieces. As for Emperor Ji and Lord Azura, they walked out of the closet together, just like that. The moment they left the closet, Yi Wanwan felt as if 9 unexpected lightning strikes were coming at her simultaneously. Big Dipper's eyes shot open as he stared at the two live people exiting the cabinet, his teacup crashing onto the floor, and the tea in his mouth dripping out of his mouth without notice. Seven Star was also flabbergasted as he stared at them, unable to snap out of his daze or believe what he was seeing. However, it was Yi Wanwan who was most shocked. Oh my god. Why did you two come out? If she wasn't mistaken, these two people didn't accidentally damage the door while fighting inside the cabinet. Instead, they reached out at the same time to break open the door. Emperor Ji looked at Yi Wanwan with a faint smile. My apologies, it's a little stuffy in the cabinet, so it was hard to bear. Just because of that? Who the hell would believe that? Also, is that the point? Lord Azura languidly fixed his sleeves and actually agreed with the other man, yes. Yi Wanwan, as if anyone would believe your bullshit. A second ago, Yuan was still saying how she completely lost interest in Emperor Ji and Lord Azura. A second later, Big Dipper and Seven Star saw the live Emperor Ji and Lord Azura walking out of the cabinet together. Moreover, Lord Azura, who always dressed meticulously and went the self-suppressive route, currently had two of his buttons open with his chest exposed, evidently a bit disheveled. This scene was simply an Armageddon. Didn't she agree to stay out of trouble? Didn't she say beautiful men were all passing clouds? Didn't she say she wasn't interested in Emperor Ji and Lord Azura? As Big Dipper looked at the two bosses in front of him, he was trembling with fear. He hastily wiped off the tea from his mouth and shot up, standing ramrod straight. He didn't know whether it was his misperception, but he felt like these two bosses looked at him rather terrifyingly. What did he do wrong? He didn't know anything. Even the typically mature and unflustered Seven Star couldn't recover from the scene he was seeing and opened his mouth, unable to utter a word. Yuan clutched her forehead, a look of despair on her face. Chapter 1564. Yuan couldn't help but facepalm. Why is this happening? What kind of sin did I commit? The shock gradually receded from Big Dipper's face. He rubbed his chin with his right hand as his eyes kept darting between Lord Azura and Ji Xiuran in examination, a meaningful glint in his eyes. No wonder, this would make sense then, Big Dipper murmured. Seven Star was startled, unaware of the meaning behind Big Dipper's words. Why did he mean by, this would make sense then? No wonder. Emperor Ji had never been intimate with women all these years. As for Lord Azura, he's a popsicle 24/7 and doesn't have any woman around him. Big Dipper pulled Seven Star to the side with a solemn expression. Shit. Did we come at a bad time? Are we going to be silenced forever? Silenced forever? Seven Star was baffled. What did they do that'd cause them to be killed and silenced forever? Old Seven, are you soft in the head? Aren't you pretty smart normally, so why don't you understand something this obvious? Big Dipper tried to speak as quietly as possible. What do you mean? Seven Star was expressionless. Idiot. Big Dipper glanced at him. Isn't it obvious? Think about it. Emperor Ji and Lord Azura always keep their distance from women, but they were hiding in Sis Feng's cabinet today, and they're in a disheveled state. Also, didn't you hear what Emperor Ji just said? He said he was hot. If they weren't hugging, why would they be hot? Seven Star furrowed his brows. It made sense on the surface but couldn't withstand further deliberation. If Emperor Ji and Lord Azura did have that kind of relationship like Big Dipper was implying, it'd be better for them to find somewhere more hidden. Why would they come to Sis Feng's house? However, why those two were hiding inside the cabinet for no reason with Lord Azura in a disheveled state couldn't be easily explained. Even Seven Star couldn't figure it out. Shit, no wonder Sis Feng is so close to Emperor Ji and Lord Azura and claims she has feelings for them. It appears she's just acting as a cover for Emperor Ji and Lord Azura's relationship. Moreover, Lord Azura and Emperor Ji's antagonistic relationship must just be a show for the rest of the independent state. No wonder they started fighting at the Shin residence last time. It's all a show. Big Dipper sounded extremely convinced and confident about this, as though he'd discovered some giant, phenomenal secret. Old Seven, say, who's on top, who's on the bottom in Emperor Ji and Lord Azura's relationship? Big Dipper looked at Seven Star. Seven Star, Emperor Ji might look gentle and graceful while Lord Azura looks icy like an iceberg, but I think Emperor Ji might just be the one on top. Big Dipper suppressed his volume. You guys can leave now, Yuan said with exasperation as she watched Big Dipper and Seven Star whispering to each other nearby. Leave? What leave? Sis Feng, you're wrong this time. You have to be considerate as a person, Sis Feng. You're too inconsiderate. Big Dipper grabbed Yuan by her shoulders and didn't allow any room for objections before dragging her out of the house. Am I right, Emperor Ji, Lord Azura? Sorry, Sis Feng is still young and insensible. You guys have fun. We're not in a hurry. You guys have fun and play however you want. You can come out whenever you've had your fill. It's fine even if you're a bit tired. If you're too tired, I can drive you home later. Then Big Dipper harshly closed the house door with a bang. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.